Hiya, my name's Pete. Welcome to the channel and welcome to What Remains. In this series we've been following the Driffield to Selby Railway. Our last episode we made it as far as Bubwith. We uncovered some amazing relics on the way to that station, so please go back and watch that episode. This episode we've got a river to cross, so we'll get on there straight away and I hope you enjoy this episode. Walking away from Bubwith, straight away I found something of interest. If you remember in the last station we saw what controlled the points, and we actually found some relics of points as well. Here we've got some cable pulleys. So our station is not far down there, and then in here these are probably the most intact ones that we've found. They have been well preserved. Although I can't read the writing on there very well, it does tend to pick up on camera a little bit better, so hopefully you can see that. And I will be putting a load of photographs up at the end so that you can see these as well.
They're in perfect condition, aren't they?
Yeah, so next we're going to get down there, hopefully, to our next station. Almost straight away leaving Bubwith, we start climbing. We're on an embankment because we have to climb up to start crossing a huge river. So as we go along, if I find any other interesting relics, I'll film them and I'll tell you about them. Not far out of Bubwith station, we've reached the bridge. I'll turn the camera around. I'm going to show you it. It's quite spectacular, but you'll have to wait for that section. What I'm going to show you is what I can see. Right, so what I'm going to do is, this is the bridge. There's been a public footpath cut in down there because the bridge has been cut off, and there's a public footpath down here. That there is a railway post warning of look left, look right, trains crossing, something like that. But I'm going to take you as far across that bridge as I can. So as you can see, it's no longer a public footpath up here, but it ain't going to stop me from getting the footage for you. And it is quite literally just to there. Now that's a long way down, and this we think had a steel bridge, this section for farmers access, and then that is all arched up to another steel section and then further arches. But we're going to go down there and I'll show you it from below. That is where I was just stood. This is the sign that would have had danger trains or something like that. We'll come down the embankment and I'm going to take you along to where the farmer's crossing was. It had probably been steel girder and it's been removed, which is here, and that is where we got to the top of. Just up there where that fence is. Again, it's so high, be 15 feet. Now here's some arches, we've got 3 arches, and then it goes to another steel girder which has been removed across the River Derwent. So we can't film any further from this side, we have to go around. But do you remember this railway was single track and then it was doubled up? Now what I'm going to show you here is the original bridge. Here's your arches through there. This is the only one I'm going to walk through because this is floodland now. But we can see there's been a little bit of repair work there, I would have said, with these bricks here. This is the original railway bridge now, and we can see where it was doubled up right there. Now at this point bricks were local, at this point bricks were standardised, so we haven't got the exact match, and we've got a lip just round there where you can see the original bridge. Now I'll walk you across the front of the others Sadly, I've not got any ladders with me to get up there. Lesson learned, that won't be happening again. And what I'll do is, I can show you just how much this floods look. Where I am is part of all the floodplain. And in here, for some reason, this one is bricked up. This is not a way through. And I don't know why, but sadly we can't get to the other side because it's floodplain land. And I can't possibly get round there to have a look. And I certainly don't trust this to stand on because it'll be too soft. So we need to get across the other side of this bridge and we'll continue on the way down to our next station. It's a different day, but we've made it round the other side of the River Derwent and I'm on the bridge now. What you can see over there is where we left it to come round. There was a cast iron girder bridge here which has been removed. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to show you some stuff what's left on this bridge. That's where we just were. That's what's on top of the other side there. We can see it's got a bit raised up because of course there was a bridge here. We can see the edge here. I'm not going to go any closer to that edge because I don't need to, but what I do need to show you is this is the top of the bridge, look. Absolutely amazing. This is where the arches are underneath us and we've still got railings in situ. Now if you remember on the previous episode you might have noticed these bits of metal hanging out. They turned out to be bracings for the guardrail on this viaduct bridge. I keep calling it a viaduct, it's a bridge, I do apologise. But if I go over to this side, it is absolutely terrifying, but I'm going to point you over. And then you can see the river at the moment is not particularly flooded, but all this is floodplain and you can see it out there. Again, if I go down to this side here, you can see that there, and we've got our original railway fencing down here. I will try and get a shot of the arches underneath here for you. Now it closed in 1965, this line, completely. But this crossing at one time would have been extremely busy. If you go back and watch the Menthorpe episode of this, you will just see how many trains use this every day. We've got some actually amazing wood to stand on for the workers to hold on to the rail while the locomotives are coming speeding through here. It's a very straight line. This is quite high up here. I wouldn't like to guess at how high, 40-50 feet, something like that. We had to walk up this way to come onto here to show you all this, but I will try and get down and take a picture on either side of what this crossing looks like. And we can see here where it was once, probably at closure, fenced off. Now we're going to be walking all down this embankment all the way to Menthorpe Gate Station, the railway station, which is the next stop on our journey, and I'll show you anything else that's interesting along the way. Just before I try and get down onto the levee, what you can see over there to stop the floods so much, we've got a pulley here just on the edge there for signalling. That's absolutely seized, is that one. But attach this wooden board, it's still there.
Another wooden board there with a pulley on.
Oh, let's have a look. My brother spotted another wooden board with a pulley on. I'll go around to it. So going back over the bridge, there's a pulley here. We can't get to this one, but I can see there's another one up there. I'm just going to go and have a quick look at that one to see if we can get any dates from it. This is the other one. Although this one moves, you can see the corrosion on this. This is really exposed where this one is. Straight out over the flatlands. It must have been quite a sight coming across here on your excursion trips, your holiday to Butlins, at Filey, going on to Scarborough, going on to Whitby, going through to Sands End. You could have got everywhere from this bridge. I've come down onto the side of the bridge because I want to show you the arches. There's no, I mean, I'll have a look under this one here, but I'm not going under any of those because they're flooded. But there's something else that I need to show you. So as I go down here, underneath the arch, it should be the same as the other side, where you can see the two different styles of brickwork for when they widen the line. I'm underneath the original part, which is quite corroded and decayed, and then you can see the other side there where it's fairly new brick, but we've got supports here holding this in, and look what it is. It's track with fish plates there, just bracing it together. We'll go around to the other side and we'll see what we can see from over there as well. And this is what we look like from the other side. We can see both sides do have this curved wall here. We can see a wooden gangway across there, and again this has got supporting lengths of railway bracing the bridge together. Now we can see these arches here, some bulging is going on and some popping out, so this bridge is slowly but surely decaying and crumbling. Now it did have an iron bridge and an iron farmers crossing at the other side. I've got a photograph of this bridge which is taken from around there, so I'll insert that for you. Once we've had a look at that photograph, we're going to continue down the line a little bit because we have got another bridge to come across too. A little bit further down we've come across the Farmers Access Bridge. I'll turn the camera around and I'll go down at one side so we'll get a feel of what these bridges used to look like. Here we go as we approach it. It's just here, all these iron railings, they're still in situ. It's a bit broken here as we approach it, but this is the actual bridge itself where it's raised up, and it has been altered here. More modern tar coated across the top with concrete posts at this side, and then it's the same at this side. Now these Farmers Access bridges are long disused, but it looks like I'm going to be able to get down and show you what this looks like from below. This side looks a bit flooded, and I'll try looking at that side. So this is the side of our Farmers Access. They go to a lot of expense for these. We've got the lovely curved wall and the coping, and the other side matches there. We have this arch here, but the actual farmers crossing there is inaccessible because the land is just a quagmire and I'm not getting stuck in there. But it's remarkable, it's still there. And then we have another arch, and then we curve round to the end wall just like it is at this side. There's a plinth down there. Now with all this being floodplains, we think it's not a solid bridge because the water needs to flow through. Otherwise there would just too much pressure on the bridge and it would be pushed over, potentially. But we've got reinforcing on this bridge as well, obviously a lot older. But fantastic. We're going to get back on the track bed up there now and head towards Menthorpe station. Our Farmers Access is just there. There are no pulley cables over the bridge that remain, but there would have been some. and we have another one here, but we can't see any date on it. And if we look down there, we've been down to have a look at that. That is a railway sleeper. Can't imagine any other reason for it to be here other than just being tossed aside and left and forgotten once these rails, all the metals and all the sleepers had been taken up and gone. We're going to head towards Menthorpe station down this way. That fence there is what you can see is the edge of the bridge, and now we're on the embankment. It's quite high, 40 or 50 feet, and it goes a long way. But what we have found on here is a signal pulley. It's a bit better condition than the others, but there is no date on there at all. We just can't see anything on there. I will try and show you some more on the way down. I can't possibly show you everything, otherwise you'll never get on with the rest of your day. But what me and Steve have noticed, my brother who I'm out with today, is that this track bed is remarkably well preserved once you get underneath here. And I'll show you something a bit further down that we discovered on the way up. When you walk in these old railway lines, you do find all kinds of things. And the bits of railway that get left behind. Now, remember when this closed in 1965, nature has had the chance to take over and just absorb everything. Just take a look at this. How that signal pulley post has grown into that tree there. When we're walking these railway lines, usually it's a linear direction, so we go across and then we're finished. This one we've had to walk up it to come back and film. So we thought we'd seen everything on the way up, but we still continue to look in the hedge bottoms or right down at the bottom of the embankments, and this is why we do it. If we had just been up there, probably 30 feet away from where I'm stood now, without going to the edges and looking down, we would never have seen this. Now I suspect very few people even know that this is here. But this will have been here when the embankment was built and widened. This side looks modern, so it was probably all redone when they widened the line, because this is actually the older side of the line. But we've got the curved walls. The copings have gone, but there's one down here. Hope you can see that shape in there. There's the coping there, and it's a huge culvert. I'll try and get to the other side and I'll film that for you as well. I am going to put up loads of photographs at the end of this, so please stay around for those, because I'll show you things that you've not seen in the video. I've made it round to the other side of that culvert, and honestly this bit more decay going on, but it just looks like it leads to a magical land. It looks beautiful, just the decay, the stillness in the air, the greenness of the mould growing on the bricks. I'll turn the camera around, I'll stop gabbing. And that's your other side there. I'll take some photographs of this. Again, the copings are missing all the way around, but I don't know if you can see at the bottom of there, that's on a concrete plinth inside there. As much as I would love to go through that, not a chance. Even in summer, this water here has probably got a metre's worth of damp soil beneath it, but I just think that looks amazing. With our culvert there, we can see the embankment's worn away, and we can actually see the material that it's constructed of, and it's all chalk. Chalk, 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 all washed away. And you can see how it's starting to erode back down. Probably Wolds chalk. We'll get back on the line. Now the part of the track bed we're on now is seldom walked, and I did say earlier it is in remarkable condition. When I say that, I mean there's a lot of relics there from when the steam trains used to come hurtling up here, clearing out the fireboxes straight out onto the track. And there's just lots, the evidence of that is scattered everywhere, and I'm going to show you a bit on the ground here now where I am. Right, so I'm looking at the ground here now, and all I have to do is just pick anything up. Well, these are small bits. There is actually some huge bits as well, and we've got all sorts of, there's part burnt coal, more clinker from the firebox, and it will have all been down there. Now for safety reasons, all these trees would never have been here, they were managed. They were all cut back because there were a fire risk, and these sides would have just looked grey from a distance with all the burnt clinker and coal and dust just piling up and going down the sides of the railway line. We're going to continue on and we'll see what else we can show you. That's where we've just come from, the railway bridge, the farmers crossing and the culvert. And if we look down here, we can see all these fence posts, because we're moving away from the floodplain now. So there are some fence posts remaining. They are wooden for now, but they do turn into concrete as we get further down the line. And again, the floor is just covered in what was being scraped out the fireboxes down here. You only have to scrape through these and you can see it, all the bits in there. I'll just point you to the other side, because the fencing over there is a little better intact, but the embankment has now dropped down probably to about 10 feet, and it'll continue to drop down until we get level with the land again. We're leaving the bridge behind us now. There isn't a lot to see round here. We've got a farmer's crossing to come across. I'll show you what remains of that. And then that is one long straight path to Menthorpe Gate railway station and crossing. We've made it down to our farmer's crossing. I'll show you the clues. It was this gap in the hedge here. This is what we initially saw, and then another hedge line there. This is not here by coincidence, but we couldn't find anything to support what we thought. So we looked across this side here, and then tucked away. Going to get in that edge for you, like I always do. Tucked away in there, you've got that big, thick, rounded top railway post. That was your farmer's crossing. This is where the access was. The other gate post is gone, nothing corresponding on the other side. And then we're going to get down to Menthorpe station, which is our next stop. We're now approaching Menthorpe railway station. I'll tell you all about it when we get onto the road. I've come back on a different day to film Menthorpe Gate railway station, because this building behind me threw me out, so I needed to go away and do some further research and come back so that I can give you an accurate view on what was here. I'll turn the camera around. So what we're looking at there is something called Station House, but this is not the original Station House. If you look at early maps, this building doesn't exist. It was built later, I think somewhere around the 1920s, as a crossing keeper's cottage. Originally there was a platform here, on that side of the line, then the line being here, and then opposite side, on the west side of the crossing, there was a signal box there. There's a photograph taken from roughly where I'm stood, so I will put that on after this, so stick around for that. All the station buildings and goods yards were here, and I'm going to go over to the goods yard entrance to show you exactly what was there. Now, this line opened on the 1st of the 8th, 1848, but it's uncertain when trains actually stopped at the station, most likely on market days, so it's thought. But it first appeared on timetables in 1851, that's like 3 years after. It was opened by York and North Midland Railway, and it was closed to passengers on the 7th of the 12th, 1953. And complete closure, this would mean for goods as well and everything else, was in 1964. This wouldn't have been a particularly busy station, but there would have been a lot of locomotives passing through here, because this is the excursion line up to Filey. Now, the crossing keeper's cottage, what we can see there, is now a private residence, and thankfully that still stands. But the station buildings were here. It was originally a single track, and then it was doubled along with the rest of the line in 1889, so it must have been fairly successful for them to do that. It had staggered platforms. One was there, and then the other one was on the other side of the line. The station building was here, and approximately round here there was a gatekeeper's hut for the goods yard, and there was 2 lines coming through which were controlled by the signal box just over there, which had 10 levers for controlling the gates and for controlling the points down to the signal box. So we're going to get down to those points down there. I'm going to have a little look around here first to see if there's anything remaining, any footings or anything like that, and then get to where them points are, because there is a photograph taken from down there looking this way. I'm hoping you can see the gates through there, which is where the line crossed. The land does drop off a little bit there, but that's where the signal box was, and we're stood where the station house was, which was knocked down in the 1970s, the early 70s. But we can see that there is a little bit of an embankment there, and the line through followed where all this rubble's piled up and down to that hedgerow down through there, and we're going to go there in a minute. But there's nothing here. If I'm looking down at the ground, we've got a little bit of red brick here and there, most likely what was from the railway station. It does feel like a good solid base to stand on, does all this, but there's no real way of knowing. So we're going to get down there to where the points were, and we'll point you back up, no pun intended. So that was the site of Menthorpe Gate railway station, and the points were just a little bit further down there, but you can clearly see there was 2 lines going up here, and our through line went here. There are some pictures from this angle looking that way. Next to the gate up there, you'll see there's a guard's hut of some description. The station is blocking out the crossing keeper's cottage, and we've got the signal box in it as well. I thought I'd end it here because all this site is completely cleared. We couldn't find anything until we're almost at the points, and then we get this. We get a lone concrete railway post still standing as a demarcation line for the property, and there's another one there, and you can probably see a bit of the shape in the land where it's going to narrow down back to the railway line. Now I'll turn around again, and I would be stood in line with the signal box, and the track bed would be just here. with what was left of Menthorpe Gate railway station in the background there. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me know that you like what I'm doing, and it inspires me to make more. Please take care, and I'll see you in the next episode when we are going to South Driffield railway station.